Hello and a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good and wonderful people of the tube. Hope you're doing grand and all is well in your world. Never give Dave a spinny chair. That's the question. This is what we've learnt today. Well, I should start with A and Q like this, shouldn't I? Hello and good. Actually, I'm going to start it again. I know why you're here. You've come for an A&Q Wednesday, haven't you? Well, you're in luck. Anyway, hello there, and a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening, Mr. Bond. Bit weird, but fun nonetheless. Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to A&Q Wednesday. Before we get into question one today, people of the tube, if you'd like to submit a question for A&Q Wednesday, I've just realised how stupid all that was, but it was good fun at the time. Anyway, if you'd like to submit a question for A&Q Wednesday, please go to the description box below. There is an email link. Email me there. Anyway, let's get to question one today. So question one today is he's lost his mind, the poor fellow. Have you considered teaching some of your songs as content for your channel? My daughter loves the song Talk to Me, and I'd like to learn it so I can play it for her. In all honesty, no. I haven't had many requests to teach my own music, and as a result, I haven't really thought about it, to be perfectly honest with you. If enough interest gets shown, I'll do some videos, depending on what song people want me to teach. But no, I've never really thought about it, to be honest with you. I don't really... it just hasn't crossed my mind, in all honesty. Every now and again when like somebody says, oh, could you do this, could you do that? But then it just kind of slips because it's my own stuff, and I have a hard time with my own stuff. You know, I always go, oh, people. I'm sure people would prefer me to do anything but teach my own songs. So it kind of never enters my mind, to be honest with you. By the way, "Talk to Me" though is my favourite song as well. So awesome. That's my favourite song on the Trio album. I love it. It means a lot to me, that song as well. I really love it. I really love that song. But, you know, it's never really in my mind to teach my own music. Like I say, if enough interest is shown, I will do. But it just, there isn't enough there, if that makes any sense. You know, it's, I don't know. I just don't want to do dead videos, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, people of YouTube. It sounds really weird, I'm sure. But yeah, it's something that's kind of like cropped up occasionally, but not really that often, and as a result of it not cropping up very often, my mind isn't jogged enough for me to actually do anything. And again, I don't know what songs people want to learn. Like say, you say "Talk to Me," you're the first person actually, I think, who's actually requested the song "Talk to Me." When my song "Never Fade" came out, whenever that was, I don't remember how long ago that was, quite a few people asked if I could teach "Never Fade," but that is a song that I can't teach because I can't even play it. And it's not because of like difficulty factor or anything like that. It's because of what it means. It'd literally break my heart to play that song again. That "Never Fade" is a song that I will never play again. It's just one of those songs that kind of like, you know, because of what it means and who it's for, I'll never play that song again. I can't. Emotionally, I can't deal with it. It's too much for me. So yeah, be that for what it may. But like I say, other than that, I haven't really had too many requests for me to teach my own music. So as a result of that, it's never really in my mind for more than a microsecond for me to actually do it, if that makes any sense. But like I say, if there's enough interest in the song "Talk to Me" or whatever for teaching, then I would do it. But it's difficult because you know, not a lot of people know the trio. You know what I mean? Like, not a lot of people know the songs off the album. We haven't sold a great deal of them. You know what I mean? We've sold more than I expected to sell of the Trio's album, but it hasn't really. It's not a lot. You know, it's not a lot of album sales. It really isn't. I think you know, for an unknown, unsigned band, we've done pretty well, but it's not a, you know, it's not a best-selling album or anything like that. It's not a groundbreaking album, if that makes any sense or anything like that. But anyway, what do you expect, Dave? You're a nobody. Anyway, nobody band, should I say? Unfortunately. But yeah, so I've never really thought about teaching my songs, to be perfectly honest with you. Talk to Me is in E flat. I know that. The song's in E flat, comes in the key of E. Be this for what it may. The riff to Talk to Me. Come down here, people with the trouble. So the riff to Talk to Me is. So it's open E, and then you do this kind of pull off hammer on thing on the 3rd fret on the low E, so like that, and then you go down to the D string on the 2nd fret, like that. Like that, and then you go down here to the 5th and 7th on the A, and it's like a 5th fret on the A string pull off, and then you hammer on from the 5th to the 7th really quick, so like that. So it's and there's a pull off on the 2nd fret as well. So it's and then it's. I can't remember it. Oh yeah, of course, that's it. I need to play it at full speed sometimes to remember. But yeah, so it's... So it's 5th fret on the E string, hammer onto the 7th fret low E string, then back to the 5th fret on the A string to that pull-off thing again to the open A. Like that. And then it's open E, hammer onto the 3rd fret on the low E string. Yeah, and then you go to the 2nd fret on the D string. And then it's this. So it's then it's the 3rd fret on the... I'm not in teaching mode at all, so this is really difficult. 3rd fret on the B string. And then you bend up the G string on the 2nd fret, and then I think you finish up on the 2nd fret on the D. Yeah. So it's like a pull off on the D string, like that. So that riff really slow is. So that's the riff, and then the verse goes E minor, G major, D major, and then back to the riff. And then it goes to C, G, then it goes to a D5, so bar chord down here, then it does this octave chord thing. So it goes from a D5 power chord, it goes to this octave chord, which is just 10th and 12th on the A and G strings. And you just go from 10th fret with that shape, 9th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret. Okay? And then it's, so that bit's like... and then we come back to E, G, D, and then back to the riff. Then it's C, D, and then riff. And that's it. That's basically the whole song. Again, I like simplicity when I write songs. I like things kind of like be riffy and but kind of melodic as well. But guitar solo is in E minor, well E flat minor technically. But that's Talk to Me. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. I'm really proud of that riff. I really love that riff. It's kind of like more fiddly than it kind of looks. It's really, really cool. But I really like the chords, and I just love that song. Talk to Me is literally one of my favourite songs I think I've ever written, along with Are You Alright, Overcome, Never Fade, and a few others that I'm really proud of. So let me put you back up here, people of the troop. So yeah, anyway, I hope that's helped. But like I say, I've never really actually considered teaching my songs. In like a dedicated video, if that makes any sense. Like I say, but there just hasn't been a great deal of interest in that. But if that picked up, then I would definitely do it. But again, that's Talk to Me. I hope that helps anyway. And again, thank you very much for listening. I'm really grateful you like that song and like the album, like what the trio does. Thank you very much indeed. It really means the world to me. Thank you so much. The trio is kind of like I started the Dave Simpson Trio in 2007, and some of the songs that are on the album I've had for years and years and years, and I've never had the right lineup to record it. So to have John, Joe and Queenie in the band and have that lineup, and then have my friend Ian record it and mix it for us, it was just like a match made in heaven. It really was. Anyway, so I hope that's the question. We'll move on to question 2 now. Okay, so question 2. And also, PeopleTube, if you want to see more of me teaching my songs, then please let me know, because like I say, I don't get many requests for it. But anyway, question 2. I really like your John Frusciante style intro jams. How did you learn to improvise and solo that good? Basically, I learned by emulating people like John and Jimi Hendrix and Mike McCready and Peter Green and Rory Gallagher. Paul Kossoff. I learned from these guys, and I learned by copying. I would learn John Frusciante. I at one point, I'm pretty sure I knew pretty much every John Frusciante guitar solo note for note. I don't remember them anymore, because I kind of don't really do that anymore. I don't really like learning things note for note anymore. It's kind of something that's kind of fallen by the wayside for me, really. And I'm not upset by that. That's just kind of part of my musical journey, if you will. I don't really want to learn people's solos note for note anymore. I'd rather make up my own and see where I can go with it for me, if that makes any sense. But I learned to improvise like this, again, because following people like John and Jimmy. I would spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and years. I've spent years, should I say, just playing along to their music, playing along to Jimmy doing Machine Gun or Hear My Train Coming, and trying not to play what he plays and do my own thing. And the same thing with John, after a certain period of time, I was just like, I want to play my own thing over Scar Tissue. I don't want to play the Slane Castle solo or this solo or that solo. I want to make my own solo up. So that's where that came from. But again, it initially started from me learning their songs and their solos. And me basically just trying to emulate them as best I could. I would learn John's solos note for note, I'd learn Jimmy's solos note for note, Rory Gallagher's songs note for note, and stuff like that. But eventually, like I say, that grew kind of like, I didn't find that as fulfilling as improvising my own thing. So eventually that kind of like went away, and I really don't do that anymore unless the solo is kind of like unchangeable. There's certain songs where solos are just part of the song. Sweet Child of Mine is a good example of that. You can't change that guitar solo. It's to the song. It is the song. That solo is the song. If you change that, you're doing a disservice to the song. And there's certain other things as well, like certain solos. Bold as Love by Jimi Hendrix. That solo is incredible to me. Little Wing. But you can mess around with Little Wing, but you still have to do that. And that first solo, you still have to do it. But again, I learned all this stuff and eventually tried to find my own way instead. And I've said this before, PeopleTube, as well. Like, if you've been around it long enough, you've probably heard me say this. But when I was younger, when I first started trying to learn to improvise, I can't think of when that would have been, actually, come to think of it. It would probably... Well, I was at college, so... We're probably looking about 2003, 2004. It didn't take me long to kind of get... Not tired, but kind of like I improvised a lot. I started improvising very early in my guitar playing kind of journey. I was no good at it for a long time. I was terrible at it, to be honest with you, for a long time. But it was one of those things that kind of I just really enjoyed. And what I used to do, I had a tape of a cassette tape of Guns N' Roses live in Paris, and it was like it was just recorded off the radio when I did it live. And what I used to do is I used to put that tape on every day, and I would just solo over every song. I didn't know they were in E-flat tuning either. I didn't realise they'd down tuned. I didn't know any of that at the time. And I do apologise for how dark it is, people. I closed the blind because it was really, really bright outside. Now it's gone really dark. One sec. Whoa, I need to fall over my looper. That's not how a looper works, Dave. Anyway, hello. That's better, isn't it? So, and then the sun comes back out. Anyway, but yeah, I used to just improvise over that, and then like, you know, songs like Scar Tissue, and I'd eventually start improvising over that, and then other songs like you know, would come up, and I'd start improvising over those, like Hear My Train Come In, Machine Gun, Hey Joe, Fire, stuff like that, like, you know, Jimmy songs. And then Rory Gallagher came along, and you got songs like Bad Penny and Overnight Bag and stuff like that, and I would start improvising over those. And again, it took me a long time. It took many years of, you know, trial and error and failing and learning and sitting down with the guitar and learning my way around the thing in different keys and every key eventually to know what I was doing and go where I wanted to go. So that's how I did it. Like I say, that won't work for everybody, but that's the way I did it, and that's what worked for me. So you also said, do I have any tips for me to learn to solo in a melodic way? Yeah, I mean, like I say, just learn solos you want to learn, and learn these patterns, learn the notes you like, learn the intervals you like, learn kind of like how, like, you know, that string tree's gone wonky, just kind of learning kind of like kind of hard to do it without a chord progression, actually. I don't like actually noodling without a chord progression. I end up just kind of like noodling. But yeah, just learn songs like learn solos. So from your favorite guitarist, like, you know, if it's John Frusciante solos, learn those solos note for note, and just kind of log the your favorite phrases. You know, like I don't know. I mean, I love that one, which comes from Before the Beginning, and I use that quite a lot because I really like it, and it's really in my kind of like, you know, my unconscious mind when I play, and I will end up playing it. I like half-step bends as well, which is something I got from John, so it's kind of like, instead of a full bend, which sounds quite uplifting and rejoiceful, a half-step bend sounds really sad. You know, I love half-step bends. They're just really soulful. And then later on, I got more from Dave Gilmour. But it's just a case of just playing. You know, learning and playing, and it takes time to evolve. You know, like I say, it's not something that happens fast. The ability to kind of improvise and stuff like that, it takes time, and it takes you know, a lot of effort and just knuckling down really, and just really practicing like an absolute demon. That's literally what it comes down to. And again, learning to play melodically is, I think, really important. Like, you know, it's all well and good, but now to kind of like go and shred and play really, really fast. But something comes from hitting the right note at the right time in the right piece of music. You know, it's just that when you hit the right note, and it's just kind of like, it just sings, and it's just so perfect, and it just says so much. Like I say, I don't like playing the guitar now, and it has to mean something. You know, every time I pick up a guitar, that note has to be important. That note has to be important. All of them have to be important. You know, there's not one note that's kind of phoned in. You know, you got to mean it all and all the time. You know, there's not one point where you could just be like, you know, well, whatever. You know, it has to mean something when you play the guitar. Especially with like, you know, in a song context as well. It's okay to kind of like noodle about outside of song. You know, I do it to keep my hands in. I do these kind of like little exercises. Those kind of things to kind of keep my fingers kind of agile. And again, occasionally I'll do shreddy stuff just because, again, I like to keep my hand kind of like, you know, on that kind of way. So I like to keep doing those kind of things. And you know, stuff like that. But like when it comes down to actually playing in a song or playing like to a backing track of this and the other, or playing a piece of music just full stop, it has to mean everything, if that makes any sense. So, but yeah, again, and learning your scales, you need to know your 5-6 pentatonic scales. You need to know up and down the neck so you don't get lost. That's another thing that's really, really key when you're improvising is, you know, you need to know where you are. So when you are playing, your conscious mind doesn't get in the way of your conscious mind and throw you off. You know, you need to know that well where you can just turn off and just know where you are, and you don't have to think about it then, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I hope that makes some kind of sense. I'm terrified already. Yeah, and it just takes time to develop. Melodic improvisations, they just take time. It's not something that kind of like happens overnight or in a year or 2 years' time. It's something that kind of like takes time to mature in your playing, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that's the right word. It probably isn't. I'm not very good at English today. But it just takes time. It really does. It just takes time, and you have to be patient with it. And again, you have to sit there and you do have to do your... that wood shedding kind of stuff. You know, you've got to learn your scales. So when you do play, you're never going to get lost depending on what key you're in. Whatever, you know, you can kind of go all over the neck then and it's kind of like play. I can't play very well today. I don't know why. Anyway, well, it's just one of those days. But anyway, yeah. So it just takes time. Just keep going with it more than anything. No, I want to keep you here. But yeah, just keep going. You know, it'll take time. You can't do things like that improvisation thing overnight. It took me years to kind of like to be where I am now, and I'm still not where I want to be. It's still not quite right. You know what I mean? There's still things I need to work on. So, but it just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep pushing. Okay, so another part of question 2. Is it only question 2? Oh my god, I really need to start speeding up. Anyway. So question part 2 of question 2 is did you ever use impulse responses in a pedal or on your computer? No, I've never used impulse responses. I don't really do that kind of thing. I just kind of tend to I use an amp. I just use my amp. I'm not really interested in that kind of the amp on the computer realm or impulse response thing. It doesn't really interest me at all. I'm really not technically minded either, so I'd probably mess it up and ruin things and not be any good at it anyway. But no, I've never used impulse responses. I'm sure they're amazing, but it's not really a thing I'm looking at or interested in, to be honest with you. Okay, so I'm going to move on to question 3 now. Question 3 today question 3 has 2 parts. Question 3 part 1 is what do you have planned for 2020 in regards to the channel and the trio? Well, with the channel, I'm just going to keep doing what I've always done, which is reviewing guitars, amps, pedals, doing as much teaching as my brain can manage. Out and about videos. I'd like to do more out and about videos, but more let's go for a walk videos in my hometown. I've got some more of those planned actually, because I haven't shown you all of my hometown, people of YouTube. So that's going to happen. So there's going to be more out and about videos. We're going to visit some guitar shops and stuff like that. I've got some other things planned as well. But yeah, you know, other than that, it's it's going to do what the channel's always done, which is review amps and guitars, and we're just going to do it to love music. Basically just keep playing as best I can, really. So yeah, that's really kind of like, you know, where I'm going with the channel, really. I don't really have any other ideas or really any other kind of thing. I love doing what I do, if that makes any sense. Like, I do enjoy doing when I review a guitar, I do love doing the kind of like mini concerts, as people have dubbed them. The things where kind of like I just play. Like there's a bit of talking at the beginning, and then it's just kind of like a big long kind of like unconscious stream of music at the end of it. I love doing that. That feels. I like the flow with that. I don't really like doing videos where that flow gets interrupted, like doing an intro jam, stopping, talking a bit, doing another bit of playing, stopping and talking a bit, and then doing more playing. It kind of interrupts the flow, and it doesn't feel really where I want to go with it musically. I like it when music is uninterrupted, and you just kind of get that flow. So guitar reviews will be like that. I prefer to demo a guitar like that. Amps obviously will be different, like, you know, they will be broken up and, you know, to show different tones in the sound. Same with pedals as well. But when it comes down to guitars and playing, like I prefer just kind of like be that kind of unbroken, unconscious kind of stream of music, if that makes any sense. But yeah, that's kind of like, you know, the channel will just. Also, I do have, like I said, I've got lessons planned as well. I'm going to do some more blues lessons as well. Like I say, and just bits, more blues lessons, more kind of bits and pieces. I'd like to talk a bit more about kind of like guitar setups and what I do and stuff like that, really, and talking about intonation and stuff like that. And I'd like to do lessons for complete beginners as well. I've really kind of like, I got desire to kind of like do lessons for complete beginners. Maybe I'll get around to that. I would like to get around at some point. But again, my brain has to be in the right place for teaching. It really does. As for the trio, we're just going to keep on keeping on as best we can, really, with trying to get... In all fairness, people tube, we're still struggling on finding gigs for the trio. It's not easy. We do have a couple of gigs, though, coming up. We've got one in April, we've got one in May, we've got one in June, and we've got one in September. At this point in time, I will put the dates up on my I'll put the dates up on Instagram, Facebook, and this, that, and the other when I get a chance to. But we've only got 4 gigs, and it's just tough. It's just really tough. You know, things are still a bit weird, and things will still be weird this year. I still think this year is going to be a bit of a strange one for gigging, But yeah, we'll keep playing, and we'll keep recording and keep playing. I've got ideas to doing a second album as well. And loads of people are saying there's no point doing albums, but I'm going to do it anyway because I like doing albums. I want to do a music video as well. I want to do 2 music videos for the trio to get our music out there as best we can, because we're trying to push it, but it's really hard because we've got no backing, we've got no label or anything like that, and it's really difficult to push a band. Push your band when you've got no backing. And again, the only financial backing we've got is just us free. So it's really, really difficult because obviously we have to live, so our money has to go on other things. And we've all got bills to pay and stuff like that. And, you know, I've got stuff I want to buy to review on the channel as well. And Queenie's got stuff she wants to buy to review on her channel. John Joe's got stuff he needs to do as well. So we've all got kind of things to pay for. So without backing, it's kind of like, you know, it's tough. It really is tough. And again, we're an unknown band. You know, the trio is an unknown band. So we'll keep playing as best we can, as much as we can. I'm aiming to have 1 gig a month from April. So April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I'm hoping to get 1 gig a month. Fingers crossed. Whether that'll happen, I don't know. But yeah, so that's my goal. You know, that's where I am with that one. But again, we're going to try and do some new songs. We're going to try and get some music videos done. And just keep going as best we can, really, because that's all we can do at this point in time. Because, again, there's no one knocking on the back door of a trio to help promote it or fund it or any of that. You know, it's really difficult, and it's just tough. It's just really tough. Anyway, but that's the plans anyway for the channel and the trio so far for 2022. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. Okay, so another thing is, do you think the Beatles are slightly overrated? I don't have an opinion on that one. The Beatles are a band that I don't really listen a great deal to, and never have, really. I do like some of their songs, and I respect them, and they're amazing. But when it comes down to the whole overrated thing, it's all subjective, and I don't really have an opinion on it, to be perfectly honest with you. If you like them, you like them. If you don't like them, you don't like them, and that's cool. You know, you don't have to like the Beatles. You don't have to like things that other people like, and that's totally fine because we're all an individual. You know, we don't need to be shunned for liking something, disliking something that other people love. You know, I don't understand that mindset personally myself. I've had it a lot in my life where I've gone, oh, I don't like that, and people kind of get a bit bent out of shape because you said you don't like something that they love. But, you know, if they love it, what does it matter what you think at the end of the day? You know, if somebody likes baked beans on toast and you like spaghetti on toast because beans make you ill, you know, or you just don't like them, you know, getting bent out of shape over that is kind of stupid. It doesn't make any sense. There's no point. Yeah, if you love it, then what does it matter what anybody else thinks? I mean, really, like, you know, if you love something so much that, like, you know, it means everything to you, and then you talk to somebody and they go, oh, I really don't like that. No, it's not for me. Then what does it matter? You know, if they don't love it, you do. It doesn't matter what they think or say. You know, that shouldn't have any bearing on your love for said chosen thing or whatever it is. You know, a lot of people have said, like, you know, to me over the years about my crazy infatuation with John Frusciante, saying, oh, yeah, I don't think you should do this and that and the other. And it's like, it doesn't matter to me because it doesn't have any sway on what I'm not going to stop loving that man and his music just because people think it's wrong. It may be wrong to them, but it's not for me. It's what's got me where I am. And again, John to me is my biggest inspiration and will always be my biggest inspiration on guitar. Like I say, when I play guitar, you know, the inspiration invariably 95% of the time will come from John. You know, it really will. You know, and with the new album coming out, I'm sure that'll ramp up even more. You know, but I'm just upset that I can't get to see him live, but that's okay. But you know, that there has to be. You know, I'm not going to get into that one. I don't want to talk about that one. But it like I say, if you love it, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or what anybody else says. You know what I mean? People rip John Frusciante apart all the time, but I don't care. If they don't like him, that's totally fine by me. That isn't going to make me upset, you know, because I know what he means to me. Same with Jimi Hendrix. You know, if people don't like Jimi Hendrix, that's fine as well. You know, we can't get bent out of shape over people's likes and dislikes that are different to ours. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. Like I say, all that matters is if you love it. If you love it, then it doesn't make any difference what it is or whatever. You know, whatever anybody says. You know, as long as you love it, that's literally all that matters. It's like guitars. You know, like if somebody says, "Oh, I hate Stratocasters," you know, I'm not going to try and convince that person to love Stratocasters just because they're my favourite guitar. You know, if they don't like them, that's fine. You know, it doesn't make any difference. I know I love these things, and that's all that matters. So when it comes down to kind of things like do you think bands are overrated and this, that, and the other, it really doesn't matter what my opinion on Beatles is. You know, if I think they're overrated or not, because all that matters is what your opinion is. You know, because that's fundamentally all there is. You know, it's like, you know, if you think they're overrated, then you think they're overrated. It doesn't matter what I think. You know, you're your own person. You know, you I can't get into your brain. You can't get into mine, and I don't think the way you do, and you don't think the way I do. So it's totally fine to just kind of like go, well, you know, I think they're overrated, but to be berated for that and then kind of like bullied for that is wrong. You know, if you don't like something and you think such and such, that's fine. You know, obviously within reason. But, you know, if you think something's overrated and other people don't, it's not their job to try and bully you into loving what they love. You know, if you don't like it, you don't like it. You know, and that should be the way it should be. I don't understand these people who go out their way to try and, like I say, bully or convince people to like something they don't like. it doesn't make sense to me. It's like, live and let live. It doesn't make any sense to be kind of like, I love this, so you will, and if you don't, I will torture you. It's like, what? Give over. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. And again, I've had it a lot of people with tube with solid state amplifiers. The bullying I've had over my love for solid state amps is, ridiculous. But it's not going to make me stop using my solid states. I'm not. I am. I have 2 valve amplifiers. I've got my Marshall Plexi and I've got my Pro Junior Fender. But I will always pick the CR120 or the MG or the Katana over it. Very rarely do I plug into the Plexi, and very rarely do I plug into a Pro Junior. I always go for one of my solid states over it, because that's where I belong. That is what I love. That's what the consistency of sound and everything, all that. I spoke about that. That's what I love. But again, the amount of people who have tried to bully me into being a valve amp guy, it's like, well, it ain't gonna work. I'm very kind of steadfast in what I do, and what I love, and it ain't gonna change my mind, regardless of what amp I plug into, even if it's the best amazing most amazing valve amp in the world, I'll end up coming back to the solid states, because that's what I love, that's what I am, that's where I belong in my world, if that makes any sense. And the same thing with the John Frusciante obsession, that's where I am. John inspires me every day. Every day he inspires me to do something and to push myself musically, and to, and just try to be the best I can be. So why would I stop doing that? It's not a negative to me, you know what I mean? It's a positive. It's a massive positive. Anyway, but again, when it comes down to the kind of like, do you think this is overrated, that's overrated, this, that, and the other, it's like, I don't really have an opinion on anything like that. Like, all that matters is what you think on that one. It's the same as kind of like, do you, I like this guitar, but my friends don't. Do you think I should buy what they recommend? No. Play what you want. Be you. You are important. You are the most important person when it comes down to decision making like that. You have to go by your path. You cannot walk anybody else's path. You walk yours. Don't get confused. Stick to your guns. Just go, I don't like that. And if somebody says, well, you should, it's like, well, no, you shouldn't. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's simple as that. So when it comes down to the Beatles overrated, it doesn't really matter what I think. I don't have an opinion on it anyway, because like I say, I don't really listen to the Beatles enough, or this, that, and the other with them really. So they've never really been a band on my radar. So I respect them. And I love some of their songs, and I love them as musicians and how talented they are. But other than that, I don't really have them on my radar. Okay, so I'm going to move on to... Is that the final... Yeah. Okay, I'm going to move on to question 4, people too, because I could talk about this stuff all day. And I have done in the past. So anyway, I'm going to move on to the final question today, people tube. Question 4, and this has got 4 parts. So 4 parts for 4 parts. Question 4 for 4 parts. It's like bingo, isn't it? Bingo! Anyway, question 4, part 1, is do you ever process your vocals? Your Wicked Game vocals were amazing, and hopefully something we'll hear more of. No, I don't process my vocals. No, I actually sang Wicked Game one end to the other in one take. It wasn't the first take, and I don't think it was like the 20th take, but I was determined... From the get-go, I was determined to do Wicked Games, to sing it in one take. To get from the beginning to the end in one thing with no cuts or edits. And after a while, it wasn't really working. I kept kind of like messing up with certain words and phrasing, and I couldn't get things kind of pitched right. And eventually I was like to Queenie, I was like, I'm going to have to do it in bits. So we'll do the first verse, then we'll do the first chorus, then we'll do the second verse, second chorus, third verse, third chorus. And then that didn't work. And I was just getting really frustrated at myself, because I was getting really angry, and I was like, I can't do it, I'm useless. That lovely trend and trick that we all go down with self-consciousness and self-deprecation as well. And eventually Queenie was like, just sing it. And she was like, just sing it. So I eventually just stood just there, and I sang it front to back and got it, eventually, and the take you hear is just one through. I didn't stop. There's no edits in there. There's no punching in, punching out. And the only thing I had on my vocals was a little bit of compression just to even it out when it sits in the mix. Because I didn't want it to go kind of like haywire. I wanted it to be very level. And reverb. And that's all there was. Oh, and I EQ'd out some of the low end on my voice. Because I was using an SM58, it tends to have quite a lot of low end when I sing into it. So what I did do is I put a graphic EQ on it and I basically high-passed the whole thing. No, not the whole thing, but I high-passed it, got rid of all the low end. So again, it sat better in the mix. But other than that, I didn't do anything to it, so just cutting out the low end, a little bit of compression to make it sit in the mix right, and reverb, and that was it. There was no auto-tune, there was, again, and the thing is too, is like, it wasn't an expensive mic, it was just your bog standard SM58, because that's all I've got. And we're, just going straight into my M box, into Pro Tools. So yeah, that was it. I'm really, really glad that you liked it as well. Wicked Game is a song, that version of Wicked Game, I've wanted to do that version since I first got that version in my head in 2017. And obviously we did a version of it in Dukes Deluder, but it was never quite right. I was like, that's not the version I'm hearing in my head, and that's not the version I'm being kind of like, that's being beamed to me. It was always kind of like, it was exactly what the trio did. So when I finished finally mixing Wicked Game and exported it and listened to it back, and it was exactly what I heard in 2017. In all fairness, I nearly cried. I really did. It really got me emotional. It really got me, and still does actually. That song in that version, because it's been kind of floating around with me for so long, to finally actually hear it the way I wanted it, it was really emotional, and it really did. It really made me well up, and it really got me. And I was so close to actually just like roaring my eyes out when I first heard it back. I was just like, that's it. And it gets me now, actually. I can feel it. But yeah, other than that, I didn't do anything. There's a lot going on in Wicked Game, and John, Joe and Queenie just nailed what they did. They absolutely nailed it. And it was just so perfect. Again, and there was literally nothing I would change in that. I wouldn't change the mix. I wouldn't change the performances. I wouldn't change anything. And I do love the fact that me and Queenie recorded that too while we were really ill as well. We had the virus, and we were really ill when we recorded that. And I like it because it kind of like, it was light in the dark at that point in time, because it was horrible. We were so ill, and we just felt terrible. But that was the light. Then Wicked Game was the light, as well as the EP that me and Queenie did as well. That was the light. But Wicked Game means everything to me now. It really got me and still gets me. It's very powerful. It really is to me. And I gotta say, I nearly well up every time I hear it. So the next part question for PeopleTube is, if you had to pack your van for a 6-week long UK tour, what gear would you take? I would take CR120, Marshall MG. I wouldn't take my Magic Cab. Actually, I probably would, actually. I'd probably take this setup here. So CR120, Marshall MG, Magic Cab, and my Fender Super Reverb. That's what I would take amp-wise. And I wouldn't use all three of them. They would just be there depending on what I felt like using on the night. So some nights I might just want to use the Orange. Some nights I might want to use the Marshall. Some nights I might just want to use the Fender. And then some nights I might want to daisy chain two together. So that would be what I would take amp-wise. Pedalboard-wise would be what I always use at my pedalboard down here. So it's like, well, I've got a video on my pedalboard, people with you. You've seen it. So I would take my pedalboard. Guitar-wise would be a lot more difficult, but I'd be definitely taking my Chapman Pro X because I love that guitar for live. It's such an amazing live guitar. And funny enough, Wicked Game, I recorded all the guitar parts pretty much on the Pro X. The only parts I didn't record on the Pro X was the Mel 9 choir and orchestra sounds were recorded on the 79 Strat. I used the 79. It just works so well with the Mel 9 for the choir, and I also use my Tokai Custom for an overdub guitar that goes like this. And does that, and that's just the Tokai Custom. Other than that, it's all the Pro X. The solo, the main rhythm guitars, all the distortion guitars, it's all the Pro X. So that would be a guitar that would come with me, definitely the Pro X. A guitar you've seen, but I haven't shown you yet, but you've seen it today. I'd take the Jet JS300. I would take that on tour with me, and I'd take one more, and it'd probably be the Aria, the STG. So that'd be what I'd take. That'd be the amps, that'd be the pedals. I would take spare pedals as well. I would take the Zoom G6 as my backup pedal board. So I would have that as my backup just in case something went wrong with my main board. I would use that just in case until I could replace what I needed to replace. Because I could get through a whole gig easily with the G6. G6? Yeah, G6. So that would be what I would take. Moving on. So yeah, that'd be what I would do. I would definitely miss the guitars I don't take, but I wouldn't play loads of guitars on tour. In all fairness, I'd play the Pro X more than any of the other guitars. It's just that I would like variety. In all fairness, there is another guitar just sat off camera, which you'll see soon, that I'd probably take as well, actually. Anyway, but I can't talk about that later. You'll see it soon. Question 3 of part 4. Part 3 of question 4. He's a clever boy. How would your YouTube channel differ if you weren't hampered by copyright issues? I'd probably do more covers, but in all fairness, I'm kind of grateful to the copyright thing, because when the copyright thing really started to hit my channel really hard, and I was no longer able to play Chili Peppers songs or Jimmy songs or anything like that, it made me go, well, now I have to make my own stuff up. I've got to play my own music. I can't just rely on playing a Chili Peppers song or this, that, and the other. So it really spurred me on to write my own stuff and really focus on my own music and go, well, where can I push this? And in all fairness, I'm really grateful to it for that, because I really like some of the things that I've come out with, and some of the things I've come out with actually turned into songs, full-fledged songs and this, that, and the other. I really like the intro jam today. I really like that kind of electro thing. I'm getting pulled in that direction, and I really like it. It's really, really cool. It's making the guitar sound a little bit weird. I really like it. It's really cool, and it kind of pushes me out of my comfort zone a bit, because I'm not used to the sound. But again, I always like really simple chord progressions, so I can really get melodies over top and emote over it. But in all fairness, if I wasn't hampered by copyright, I'd probably do more covers. I'd do more teaching, definitely, because I'd be able to teach songs. But that is the main thing that kind of really annoys me, to be honest with you. That is the biggest thing that annoys me about the copyright thing, is I can't teach songs. Like I said, I had so many things I wanted to teach song-wise, and I can't do that because of copyright. Either it been the Chili Peppers, Rory, Jimmy, or I really wanted to do a Paul Kossoff series, but I needed to show them in context of songs, and I can't do that anymore. And I was going to do Danny Kerwin stuff, and I can't do that anymore because of copyright stuff. It's very annoying, and that is annoying. But at the same time, I'm very grateful to it because of what it gave me the kind of kick up the arse to do, if you will. You've got to go out there and you've got to do your own thing instead, which I like, to be honest with you. I kind of prefer it, and I like coming up with things like for videos, new songs or intro jams, or again just doing the big long mini concerts that people say. I really like doing that. So yeah, be that for you, mate. So I'm going to move on because I'm running out of time. Last part of question 4 is, how do you mic up your gigs? We don't, invariably. There's no point. The places we play with the trio, we don't mic up because they're too small. There'd be no point. There'd be literally no point. We just go off backline. The only thing the PA does is vocals for me and Queenie, and that's it. There is no point miking up a 412 cab or my Fender 410, because if you mic it up, I'd have to have the amp so quiet on stage I wouldn't hear it, and then I'd have to rely on monitors, which I don't like doing. The only thing I like through monitors is vocals, and invariably some of the places we play are so small I can't even get a monitor in, so we don't mic up at gigs because there's just no point. We just don't play big enough places. If we were playing theatres and bigger venue, like proper music venues, then yeah, we would mic up and use a PA to push everything out front. But we don't. We don't play those places. We don't have the luxury of that. We play small pubs, and that's where we are. That's what we play, and that's where we play right now. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. And anyone who's done a pub gig knows that pub gig sounds a nightmare. It either sounds way too harsh or way too bassy, and you just have to do what you can do, really. So when the trio plays live, because of the places we play, we don't mic up because we just can't. There's just no point. The places are too small. They're just too small, and so we just go off backline and just use the PA for vocals, because there's, again, like I say, there's just no point in it whatsoever. There's no point taking tons and tons of monitors and bass bins and tops and big PA system to play a small pub. It doesn't make any sense. It's just you don't need it. If that makes any sense. Anyway, hope it's answered your question, PeopleTube. Hope there's been something in this video you can kind of take away. I hope it's been okay, and I hope answer questions okay. Like I say, if you want to submit a question for AQ Wednesday, please go to the description box below. There's an email link there. And if you like the videos I do here, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. Really helps me out. There's also links to my music, Bandcamp as well, and also merch store as well below. So anyway, PeopleTube, I hope you enjoyed the vid, and I'll see you again on Friday for another video. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, and goodbye now. And we should be watching.